2019 Ram 1500 V8 first drive review. Vertical bar, more of everything. There's a lot going on with the 2019 Ram 1500, inside, outside, out back, and under the hood. New engine options, 2 of which feature 48V eTorque assistance for extra grunt, and lots of attitude heavy trims. But our first experience with the 19 Ram is focused on the totality of the truck experience, taking a step back, a deep breath of desert air, and soaking it all in. Ram is staking out a fascinating niche in an incredibly competitive segment. More than anything, this is a very comfortable truck, and that's exactly what it needs to be. Remember, Ram ditched leaf springs for coil springs 10 years ago, figuring a smoother ride outweighed the cost. That didn't make it less truckish, since capabilities also increased. And the same goes here. The suspension geometry is tweaked even further, giving it better control over speed bumps in the Phoenix suburbs as well as the desert washes, guarded by saguaro sentinels. Lest you think this means the 1500 gives up anything on its predecessor, properly equipped the 19 can tow up to 12,700 pounds. Yes, with the 1500, not a dual axle, heavier grade 3500 or something. Maximum payload is up to 2,320 pounds too, although that rating is only for a 3.6L4X2 with a 3.55 rear end. There's got to be a trade-off, right? Maybe Ram pinched the interior to save weight. Nope, both the quad and crew cabs are bigger. The crew cab grows more, though, with 4 extra inches of extra wheelbase finding its way into the massive space behind the front seats. There's 45.2 inches of legroom back there, which is about 5 inches more than before. This process of critically assessing the Ram, looking for clues that something was worse or amiss, simply came up empty. The only area the 1500 seems to show weakness is in pricing. Generally it's more expensive across the board, by a few $100s, although some of that is offset by favorable options, packaging or additional content. And, of course, with increased complexity there's the potential for higher running costs down the road, something we can't evaluate until these trucks have been on the road for years. Back to the present, the conclusion we came to is that Ram simply invested in multiple areas in this truck. A bit of the cost is passed on to the buyer, but not as much as you'd think. To translate from being counter, pay a little bit more, get a lot more. This does extend to virtually every Ram in the range, but on our trip to Arizona there were only 3 significant versions available, and all had the exact same powertrain, a 5.7 liter V8 without the eTorque 48V electric assist system, good for 395 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque, and backed up by a ZF supplied 8-speed automatic transmission, a carryover from the previous generation. No eTorques were available, period. We drove a Bighorn 4x4 equipped with the Sport Appearance package on the road, a Rebel off-road, and spent a bit of time poking around a single limited 4x4 on site. We have enough to say about the way the basic 19 Ram 1500 works with the familiar Hemi V8 as a whole, and we'll drive the eTorque engine soon enough. Even though the eTorque equipped trucks will be the efficiency darlings, the non-electrified V8 Ram still has a lot of aerodynamic and fuel economy features, once an afterthought in the full-size segment. The 19 1500 has, for example, an active front air dam on any model without an off-road package that lowers 2.5 inches, eliminating the need for a black plastic chin spoiler. It even has a system that preheats the rear differential, using engine coolant, to reduce losses from friction from viscous cold gear oil. These things aren't cheap to design and implement, and don't result in stunning gains individually. But with no easy fixes at this point, if you don't throw everything you got at it, you'll blow your fleet fuel economy and emissions averages. So the 1500's 0.357 coefficient of drag, a measure of how easily it cuts through the air, is no surprise, and also a slight improvement over the manufacturer's figures for the last generation truck, 0.36. To give you a sense of where that fits within the extremes, a slippery, much smaller 2018 Nissan Leaf gets 0.28, and current generation full-size truck competitors are right around 0.40.